Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, hi, my name is Gabby and welcome. If you've never been here before, never watched any of my videos, have no idea what I do, I cover true crime cases, and all of the cases that I cover are a little bit older. They're all basically 20 years or older, so if that's something that you might be interested in, maybe down below, click that subscribe button, and also make sure to turn on the post notifications to be notified every time that I upload. So I know that for my last video of December, I went over some updates in Jane Doe cases and stated I hadn't seen any updates for any John Doe cases I had covered in the past. Well, there has been a huge update in a John Doe case I covered late June of last year. It's an update that has some very torn. This is an update for a boy that they called Dennis or Clifton John Doe until they discovered his actual name in life, which was William Dashawn Hamilton. I'm going to be going over the case briefly and then getting into the recent update. If you want to know more about his case in general, I will link my original video down below in the description of this one. With all of that being said, let's get right into it. On February 26th of 1999, a cemetery worker headed to the cemetery he worked at, which was located across the street from the Clifton United Methodist Church at the corner of Clifton Springs Road and Clifton Church Road in southern DeKalb County, Georgia. The worker was going to be getting a spot ready for an upcoming burial. Upon walking the grounds, he spotted something in a wooded area of the cemetery. Lying there in broad daylight was the remains of a young boy. A boy whose skull was found a few feet away from the rest of his body. His remains were skeletonized. The DeKalb County Police Department took the case from there. Discovered from the autopsy performed on the boy, he had been deceased from anywhere between 3 to 6 months, and they did not believe that the location where he was found was where he died. They were unable to pinpoint exactly what his cause of death was. He hadn't been shot or stabbed. They knew that much. The toxicology report, though, would state that there were traces of acetaminophen, which is a common pain reliever, and diphenhydramine, which is an antihistamine, in the boy's system. But it didn't seem like enough was in his system to be the cause of his death. We're in a tricky spot though, because they couldn't rule him out as being a victim of a homicide, and they also couldn't rule him out as dying from natural causes, possibly some sort of an illness, which would explain why there were types of medicine in his system. He was a boy of African American descent, and his age was eventually narrowed down to being between 5 to 7 years old. His height was guessed to be between 3 feet 10 inches tall and 4 feet 2 inches tall, and his weight was guessed to be between 40 to 50 pounds. When it came to his clothing, he was wearing a well put together outfit, size 3 red jeans, a long sleeve pullover blue plaid hoodie, and size 11 Timberland brown suede boots. They had traced his shoes by serial number. They obtained DNA from him, created a dental chart for him. They created multiple drawings and reconstruction photos of him, even creating a clay mold. An unknown woman once called into the department claiming she knew who he was. Still, nothing seemed to get them anywhere closer to discovering who he was in life, what his name was. They called the little boy, though, Clifton John Doe at times, but overall, they referred to him as Dennis. They wanted to give him a proper name until they knew his actual one. In February of 2019, 20 years after he had been found, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who had released a previous sketch and worked on the case for years, released a new one. One photo was from a front view and one from a side view. They hoped someone knew his identity. This time, someone did. In May of 2020, a woman named Ava McNeil called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and she gave them all of the information that they had been looking for, and more. They were honestly in shock by how much she was able to tell them. She said that his name in life was William Dashawn Hamilton, and she had been friends with his mother, Teresa, in the late 90s in Charlotte, North Carolina. Ava had been extremely close with William. He was almost like a son to her. She just adored him. In December of 1998, Teresa told Ava that she was moving with her son to Atlanta, Georgia to live with some family. Well, in 1999, Teresa returned to Charlotte without William. She would give different stories and explanations as to where her son was, but it was almost like she wanted to go on in life and pretend like he never existed, which of course Ava found extremely suspicious. She knew Teresa and her son, and they were a pair, and now she just doesn't have her son and she doesn't want to talk about it. Where was he? What happened to him? Ava spent years and years searching for William. She knew something had to have happened. He had to be out there somewhere, either alive or dead, and she was hoping to get to the bottom of it. When she saw the reconstruction photo online done by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, she screamed to her daughter that this had to be him. Authorities took her story seriously and went through with DNA testing to help prove that it was actually him. On Wednesday, July 13th of 2022, DeKalb County District Attorney Sherry Boston led a press conference announcing the news that after 23 years, Dennis, or Clifton John Doe, was finally identified as 6-year-old William Dashawn Hamilton. On June 28, 2022, a DeKalb County grand jury indicted Teresa Ann Black, her name years ago was Teresa Ann Bailey, for multiple charges including felony murder, aggravated assault, concealing the death of another, and cruelty to a child. She was taken into custody the very next day from her home located in Phoenix, Arizona. According to 11 Alive, a manner and cause of his death was not determined at the time. The indictment for the mother now alleges that she caused her son's death by giving him a substance or substances containing diphenhydramine and acetaminophen, and by striking him in the head with an unknown object. From information that I originally came across when it came to this case, it stated that there was no form of trauma when it came to his body, but it would be released that there was a fracture to his skull. While Teresa sat behind bars waiting for a trial, a bit more was uncovered about her past. It was discovered she had also shot a 40-year-old man in 1994 when she was only just a teenager. He didn't die immediately though, but later on passed away in the hospital. She was initially charged with murder, but pleaded guilty to lesser charges of voluntary manslaughter. She was released for the crime after only serving about a year behind bars. During 1999 to 2003, Teresa had been arrested multiple times in Charlotte after moving back, but these were all non-violent charges. From 2003 to 2010, she didn't have another run-in with the law, but during that year of 2010, she was sued for not paying medical bills. Where my original video ended was the department asking the public for more information regarding the case, and Ava meeting up with another woman who cared deeply for the case as well, and her name is Angeline Hartman. She was the first person to report on the discovery of the boy back in 1999, and she went on to work with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Now, since my video was released, the case has come to what we consider to be its conclusion, unless there is, of course, another update. A DeKalb County jury began deliberating just last week. To summarize an article released by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the public defender on the case was Ryan Bozarth. He basically asked the jurors to set aside their emotions and listen to the facts, stating, "You can all hate her for this. You can hate her for these lies. That is not what Teresa Black is on trial for." Prosecutors claimed that William had been ill. Teresa gave him a high dose of medicine, struck him over the head, and then left him in the cemetery. At the time, Teresa was 21 years old and had been working at a gentleman's club, and she and her son were homeless. Ryan Bozarth made the claim that there is no evidence Teresa killed her son intentionally. He said that she chose the cemetery to sleep in that night because it was safe. She gave him over-the-counter medicine for his illness, he passed away in his sleep, and she left him there because she was frightened she may be blamed for his death. When it comes to the skull fracture, the defender claimed that it was most likely caused by scavenging animals, and that is also probably why the skull was found a few feet away from the rest of his body. Bozarth was quoted saying, "This woman was alone and scared, and she messed up. She never forgot him. She never stopped regretting that mistake. She left him and she hates herself for it. She loved him." He went on to say, "We as a society don't like a mother not reporting her child's death. Without emotions, this case is nothing." Prosecutor Dashawn Jackson told the jurors, "There were individuals who loved him, but there was one individual who failed him, and she failed him miserably. And it was the one individual who was supposed to love him unconditionally. Instead, she discarded him as if he was trash." Prosecutor Shannon E. Hodder told the jurors, "This poor child didn't make it long in Atlanta. What Miss Black did is wrong. What Miss Black did is criminal. Many of Hamilton's family members were there during the trial to testify against Teresa, even William's father, William Harris Hamilton, who stated that the last time he saw William was before he started elementary school in Charlotte, and that he loved his son dearly. He added that after William died, which of course he didn't know about until years ago, that Teresa even sought child support, knowing that her son was dead. William's family members made it clear in court that they loved William, and any of them would have taken care of him and cared for him, that she didn't need to do this, that she didn't need to be out on the street and him be sick and something happened to him or her take his life on purpose, that they would have taken him in. William's father stated, "I just feel so bad that I never got to spend time with him, like all these people coming in and out of the courtroom. I don't know what to say. Whatever you can give her, just give it to her." DeKalb County Superior Court Judge Stacy Heydrich stated, "As a mother, I cannot fathom how you could leave your child in the woods to rot. There were so many other options, and it did not have to end this way." In the end, after a 5-day trial and 6 hours of deliberation, the verdict was announced. Teresa faced 6 charges, including 2 counts of felony murder. The jury, though, only found her guilty of concealing her son's death, and she has been sentenced to 10 years in prison. That is only one of these 6 charges. This 10 years is also the maximum time one can serve for a felony charge. Prosecutors tried to get her convicted for an actual murder charge. That was their overall goal, but that was not the outcome. DeKalb County District Attorney Sherry Boston stated, "While we respect the jury's verdict, I would be lying if I said we weren't disappointed. We still believe she is responsible for young William's death. Teresa Bailey may have walked away and abandoned her son in 1999, but today I'm proud to say that the people in this room and in this community never did. Today, William Dashawn Hamilton has his name back, and he will never be forgotten." DeKalb County prosecutors explain that with cold cases like this one, it is so difficult to prove murder because in a case like this, there's just so little to go off of. But they are going to make sure that she serves her full sentence. She is going to sit behind bars for the 10 years. Now, Teresa's attorney has stated that they plan to appeal the conviction. Keep in mind that the one charge that she was actually convicted of was that she concealed her son's death. And that is exactly what she did. And they are still trying to appeal it. It is almost like she doesn't want to serve any time for what she did. I have to say that when it comes to this case, I agree with the majority. His skull fracture, they can't prove that she was 100% responsible for. It has been said by multiple people who knew her that she wasn't the motherly type, that it didn't seem like she really had this connection with her son. Did she regret having him so much that she would have done something to him on purpose? I can't say that. But overall, we know that he died in some way and she just left him there. The fact that she got away with this for so many years, and if it wasn't for Ava, he may have never been identified. That this mother didn't care enough, didn't feel enough guilt at any time to make sure that something came of this case, that justice would be served in some way, and that he would have a proper burial. That is heartbreaking to me. But I want to know your opinion when it comes to this case. I'm really curious to see what people have to say. I've definitely read a bit on Reddit and people think that she should be serving more time. Leave those thoughts and opinions down below. Remember to keep it respectful. And if any of his family comes across this video, make sure to leave some love down in the comments as well for them. Not only his family, but the incredible women like Ava and Angeline who tried so hard to get this case solved. But thank you all for taking a little bit of time out of your day to listen to this case, to hear about this update. It's a case that definitely means a lot to me and so many others. With all that being said, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one.